Hi, thanks for joining me. So we're doing a video in a different location than usual this time. I'm at my folks celebrating the holidays. So today's Christmas Day, and I hope everybody is having a great holiday. If you celebrate something this time of year, Christmas or whatever. And I'm doing a follow-up to my Q&A request I did in my last video. So I'm going to go ahead and answer those questions, and we're going to do the results of the contest after that as well. So let's go ahead and get started. For starters, we have Cool as Dan. Very cool guy, obviously, and he is a frequent first viewer, kind of early viewer, and first commenter on my videos, so I really appreciate that. He asks if I've ever had an interest in any type of hip-hop or rap music, which is a great question. I have. When I was young, when I was a kid, I was really into DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. This was obviously Will Smith before he was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or his movie career that he's had after that. And I must have had at least a few albums of theirs. I remember stuff like Girls of the World Ain't Nothing But Trouble, and stuff, I thought there was something about Freddy Krueger or something like that. I don't know, just cool stuff, I really enjoyed that. But later on, I went through kind of a music discovery phase, and I just don't think, rap or hip-hop was as popular or as mainstream back then. I just don't think it was. My brother started to really get into it. He had NWA, which, I remember him introducing me to, and he got into Snoop Dogg. I think I got him his first album of Snoop Dogg because he wasn't quite old enough to get it, and I was, that kind of thing. And what is it? That group that everybody likes. I can't think of what they're called. Anyway. Wu-Tang Clan, stuff like that. But I don't know, it just wasn't really my thing. I started getting into like the grunge bands and stuff like that, and especially industrial music, and and I just never, I've never really had an interest beyond that, but I definitely really liked Fresh Prince when I was a kid. So next is Oricon, and you guys should probably know who he is. He asks, I always have to ask, but how did you get into learning Japanese, and when did you start? Well, I really don't like doing the math on this, because I started almost 20 years ago now. I really can't believe that, but time just goes by. For me, I think it was pretty natural when I got into college. It was a little bit of a Haruhi moment, maybe, where I decided to start my own club. I was not into anime before then, and I was really into comic books and that kind of thing. And I just started getting into it. I was exposed. There was comic book stores that had that kind of stuff, and that sort of thing was just kind of starting to take off in terms of comics here in the U.S. aside from like Akira. So through that, I met other people, and I kind of just hung out with like the Japanese exchange students and people that were into anime and stuff like that. So it was pretty natural for us to just being around other people that spoke Japanese, or some people who had learned Japanese and through their families and things like that, to just want to try to do that. So we started taking some classes. So, I did that for like 2.5 years probably, and studied in Japan for a summer, and that's what got me started. So yeah, what kept me going was fan translating video games. So let's see. Enoch Belmont asks, what are the worst games you've ever played? Any really memorable bad experiences? That's a tough one, because I tend to remember games I played that were really good. But I think if a game's really bad, you tend to just stop playing it and then forget about it. Gosh, let me think. Really bad game. It's like I don't even really know what time period or like genre to go for. I don't know, maybe not a lot really stands out as being particularly bad. I mean, I'm sure that I've had some stuff. I mean, I'm thinking back to like the NES. I used to put a lot of time into some stuff like Demon's Sword or Kid Nicky, or even just stuff like Slalom or Kung Fu or uh, wrestling. It was some pro wrestling maybe, but all of those had like good elements to them, and they're kind of nostalgic. I don't think of anything as being really bad. Hydlide was a little bad, but it was still kind of good. There's charm to it. So anyway, maybe that's a tough question for me. If I think of anything else, I'll try to mention it. The other question is, do you like tokusatsu at all? You had mentioned that you recently got into Kamen Rider. If I understand what that is correctly, it's kind of like those Japanese shows that are, where guys dress up in suits and stuff like that. Or maybe just sort of more like science fiction-y shows. There was one. My short answer to that question is I would definitely like that if I lived in Japan. When I got to stay there for a little while, I was watching some show, this would have been in the late 90s, that it felt like maybe it was a Kamen Rider or something like that, but it was weird because it seemed to really center around these people that were always like sitting down in some sort of, it seemed like they were in a spaceship. It almost seemed like a cheap Japanese version of Star Trek. I don't know what that was, but I started to get into it, and I was just like, I could see myself watching these kinds of shows. It's nothing I've ever gone out of my way to find or watch, so I might like it if I did so. I just have never done so. I don't know. Maybe I'll check out Kamen Rider. Anyway, thanks for the question, Enoch Belmont, and Cool as Dan and Oricon. The Completionist asks a bunch of questions here. So, first one is, can you think of one anime in which you prefer the English dub over its subtitled counterpart? I think you've asked me this question before in a different context, and I think my answer to that comes to mind first is Bastard. That's an OAV series based on the manga, and the English dub is really good. I really liked that. Another one that stands out for me, because I like Hyperdoll so much and I watch it a lot, I like switching back and forth between the English dub and the Japanese dub, and I think the English dub is great on Hyperdoll. I think it's really good. So those two stick out for me. If price wasn't a hurdle, what are some of the top Japanese Sega Dreamcast games you would like to add to your collection? Well, I don't know that price is exactly the thing that's holding me back. I mean, it is to a certain extent, but it's really just a matter of kind of picking away at it slowly here for me. But, well, that might not be the case. I mean, another thing is rarity. So I will answer this one as, if price and rarity were not an option, I would really like to have the Toyota demo discs. Basically, the way I understand it, the way I've read it online is that I don't know, the CEO of Toyota or something was so taken with the Dreamcast that they had them set up in Toyota dealerships with demos of the cars that they were selling with, like, I don't know, maybe different colors on them, or, you know, in a landscape or something like that, and they were just used as you know, demos in the Toyota showrooms. And you know, I read about that and I heard about that, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. They even have some of the Dreamcasts that they used specifically for those installations, and I try to keep an eye out for them, but I've never seen them anywhere really. So I'd really love to have as many of those as I could have, like a complete collection of those. I don't know, maybe that's shooting for the moon a little bit, but that would be really cool. I just think that would be a neat, and it's just a collection thing too. It's not even really a game playing thing, but I think that would be really cool. What do you consider one of your favorite anime between 1985 and 1995? So I didn't really go online and research this in particular, but I think when I think about that time period, what stands out for me is you know, a lot of things, certainly, but the Dirty Pair TV series. I think just because that was kind of a holy grail for me for a while, because it was so hard to see. It took me years and years. One of my friends had, I mean, they released the OAVs here, so I watched the heck out of those. That was some of the first stuff that I ever saw. And one of my friends, I think, had the opening theme song, Russian Roulette, which I always really liked. And I think he must have had one or two of the TV series episodes, or maybe the like OAVs that they made shortly after that were kind of patterned off the TV series. But I think it was some of the TV series. I think it started with Russian Roulette, and I don't think those OAVs did. They had their own theme songs. Anyway, I wanted to see that whole thing for a long time, so I finally got the chance, and thank you, Right Stuff finally released the TV series here, and it was excellent. I really liked it. It makes me nostalgic. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, so I think I'm allowed to be nostalgic for the 80s. I mean, my sort of young childhood. But, you know, I never saw Dirty Pair in the 80s, but feels so much a product of its time that it makes me nostalgic for that time. It takes me back. It's fun. So without a doubt, the Dirty Pair, which I hope was made after 1985, otherwise I didn't answer that question correctly. What is your snack food guilty pleasure? I'm trying to eat a lot healthier these days, so really you'd figure my mind would be on my guilty pleasures a little bit more, but it's a little tough trying to figure out an answer to this. I guess I do really like that really artificial cheese dip, you know, just getting some tortilla chips and like, you know, con queso or whatever, just nachos, you know, that kind of thing is really good. I do really like that. That's definitely a snack food guilty pleasure. I'll go with that one. Is there one anime that you would like to watch again that you feel would be a better experience if you watched it in a movie theater with full surround sound? I guess, you know, a couple things come to mind. I was lucky enough to see a theatrical release of Ghost in the Shell, so that was really cool. I've already had that experience. I've never gotten to see Akira in the theater, and I think that would be cool. I also, I think that it would be pretty cool to see, I guess, Steam Boy, maybe, because I feel like Steam Boy was more about the spectacle, really, than it was about the story to a certain extent. So I think that seeing that in a theater would help you get the full experience of it. Steam Boy is probably top on my list for that. And the last one is, what do you consider your best game with regards to your own personal skill? I don't think of myself as a particularly skilled gamer, so I think that for me it's probably the Resident Evil games, maybe Resident Evil 1, honestly, because I've played through it so many times, and it's one of the few series that I go back to repeatedly and and play again. So I would say I'm relatively skilled at those games. Certainly not as much as some people I've seen online, but so thank you very much for those. Next is Kid Shoryuken. What was your favorite thing to do in Japan? Not necessarily anime or gaming or anything like that, just the fun experiences. Oh boy. That's a very good question. I mean, it's all sort of connected in, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I had some really fun times. I mean, the first time I went, I got to stay there for a couple months, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what all of my good experiences were. I mean, I definitely it's just neat going to convenience stores in Japan. I know that sounds lame, but they're just so fun and convenient and different than they are here. I you have to go to them, but they're really fun. Eating is amazing there. It's exciting. It's an adventure because it's different stuff, and the food is so good there. It really is. Um, I had a chance to go to a ninja village, which was a little corny, but it was pretty fun. They had sort of a museum area set up, and then they had ninjas show us some ninja techniques and stuff. We got to make pottery. We made some of these teacups and had them we glazed them and then they fired them for us and we got to take them home. That was pretty cool. And you know, I really enjoyed being able to experience kind of like living and going to school in Japan for a little while. I mean, I seriously got to stay with a host family, and so I would ride the bike to the train station, leave it at a bike garage at the train station, get on the train, take the train to where I was going, pick up another bike that I had there, and then bike to my school, and I would do that every morning. That actually sounds sort of horrible, but it it felt like it sort of put me in touch with um, the lifestyle of somebody living and going to school there. And it was cool, like biking past rice paddies and stuff, I mean, we don't have those here. So, that was cool. And just traveling, I got to travel with a friend for a little bit. We went to Nara. I got to see the castle in Nagoya. And hang out with a friend. I went to a museum there. I went to a boxing match. We went to a senbei shop that just sold rice crackers. Just sold senbei. That was pretty cool. I also went to the Kirin Brewery and got to see where they brew Kirin beer. And I traveled to Tokyo on my own. I took the Shinkansen with the awesome rail pass that you can get and just ride on all the trains. And I just kind of bummed around there for a little bit. I saw Tokyo Tower and went to Comic-K, went to Comic Market. And yeah, it was fun. A lot of stuff. Just I really like kind of bumming around Japan. It's a cool place. So, thank you, Kid Shoryuken. I would like to know what your, fun experiences have been in Japan as well. Dungeon RPG. These are all, a lot of people that, are regular viewers on my channel and people that comment, and, I really, really appreciate that. What was your first handheld, and what was the first game you had on it? That one is, interestingly enough, the PSP. And the first game I had on it was Rengoku Tower of Purgatory, or whatever that was. And it was alright. it was kind of a cool game. I never finished it. And unfortunately, like, the PSP just took a while to take off. So I had, like, Dynasty Warriors on it, and but I missed out once they started releasing all those cool RPGs and stuff. I just never. I'm catching up on it now, and I'm regretting that. I did really like the Japanese imports I had for it, though. The Queen's Blade games, the Queen's Gate, Queen's Blade, Spiral Chaos, and the what was that? The Oremo game, Oreo Imoto ga Kono ni Kawaii Wake ga Nai, was really good on that. I liked it. Next up is a Tums Ski. Adam SKC7, well, I'm not sure how you say your name. Another frequent viewer. How important is a game's visual appeal to you? Not talking about graphics so much, although that can be a factor, but visual design. So, important, I think. You know, it's not everything by far, and I play all kinds of games that, you know, where I think I look past the visual appeal of them, but I think, you know, I gravitate towards, like, anime style, and I think that that's really appealing to me, so that matters. Makes a big difference. I mean, not a big difference, but it's a factor. And, you know, there are some games that I think just have a beautiful, beautiful art style, you know, painterly, or kind of, you know, just nice looking, and I'm gonna gravitate towards that so much more than something where I go, oh, that looks crummy. But then, you know, if I read about it and it sounds fun, or I try it out and I like it, that, you know, I can look past that. But it's definitely a factor. Oh, next one is what is my favorite genre of anime? That is gonna be slice of life, I think, at this point. And some people may be disappointed to hear that, I don't know, but, you know, when you're young, I think it's easier to like action and sci-fi and this and that, but, you know, as the years have gone on, I've really enjoyed the slice of life stuff, and they're usually kind of funny and heartwarming and just fun, and I can, most of my favorite stuff these days is slice of life. Thank you very much. Next is Trance, and they have asked a lot of questions. Let me see. Okay, this is still filming, and we're at about 20 minutes, so I guess I'm just going to keep going and hope that this hangs in there. So, Trance, thank you for asking me questions in videos other than this one. You're kind of a frequent question asker. And you've put down a lot of questions. There's like 20. So I think I'm just going to try to go through them all instead of like pick and choose, but I might just give short answers for a bunch of them. So, have you ever snowboarded in real life? No. Short story, I skied a couple of times downhill, and it just isn't for me. I cross-country ski quite a bit, however, and that's pretty fun. I haven't actually in a long time, but I used to a lot. Have you ever played 1080 snowboarding for N64? Nope, I have not. It's awesome, however, apparently, so I'll have to check it out. Opinion on Gamergate? I'm gonna skip that one, sorry. What do you think of AVGN / Irate Gamer? I've never seen Irate Gamer, I don't think. AVGN, cool guy, funny videos. I don't really sub him and watch them a lot, because it doesn't feel like the kind of thing I want to like watch over and over again, but they're funny. You know, it's funny. I think it's pretty good. You know, good for him. They're cool videos. Have you ever had a psychedelic experience? No. Fallout or Elder Scrolls? Elder Scrolls. Although Fallout's pretty cool too. Do you have any significant regrets? Yes, I do actually. What are your what? I'm skipping one. What are some of your favorite non-gaming related YouTube channels? I like some Japanese bloggers, whatever it is. My arm's getting tired, gosh. I'm a wuss. So I like, Michaela. I don't remember if that's exactly the name of her channel. I'll put it in here. But she's cool. She talks about Japan. She hasn't been doing a lot of YouTube videos recently, which is a bummer, but I've been following her on Twitter, I guess. And she has a dog and just, like, hangs out in Japan and does cool stuff. She's pretty cool. And I really like June and Rachel and June. They're really cool, and they do a lot of content, and they just seem like great people. So I just love, they're really, just check them out if you guys haven't. They're fun. Let's see, next up is, oh yeah, favorite beverages, like water, tea, beer, vodka, bourbon, that kind of stuff. Um, how strongly have video games affected your life, and in what ways? It's affected my life a lot, I think, and it's been a thing that it's been a common like element, just sort of like an aspect of commonality between myself and my friends for forever. It's been a big part of our friendships. You know, me with like 5 or 6 like sort of close in real life friends, and you know, with a whole bunch of cool, you know, friends and acquaintances on YouTube. So it's yeah, maybe socially in a way been pretty important. It's made a big difference, an impact on my life. Okay, so again, kind of going quickly here. What things do you value and enjoy as much as video games? Um, Translating video games, but that's video game related. You know, just being creative in general. I value, and I don't know. You know, I think sort of like uh, technical stuff. You know, sort of like computer skills, things like that. I think I value as much. Let's see. Do I like electronic music outside of video game music? Yeah, especially Vocaloid music. Um, let's see. Political, social changes. No, I'm not going to talk about that. Do I have any pets? No, I don't. I'd kind of like a snake. Um, on average, how many hours do I game per week? I'd say about 10. What are some of the games you have played for the longest amount of time total? Longest amount of time total would probably be Final Fantasy XI, which I think I played for a total of about 3 years, which is pretty ridiculous. And after that, maybe like Resident Evil, but I mean, I haven't played it for anywhere near the amount of time that I played that. Let's see, what is one game you want to spend more time playing? The new Neptunia remake. What is one game you wish you'd spent less time playing? Probably that Final Fantasy game. What's the weirdest experience you've had while gaming? Oh gosh. This, I need to tell you guys this story because I don't think I've ever told it. We were playing Final Fantasy XI, go figure. This was when some of my in real life friends were playing it with me kind of early on. And a cool thing about that game was that like, they made you, like, feel the distance in the world. You really have to, like, travel places, and it's sort of a big deal when you could I don't even think I ever got to teleport anywhere in particular. So it was a big deal when you got your chocobo, because you could ride it places, and you could get to other towns. So we'd all started in Windurst, and we were going to make one of our first big treks out to this instanced dungeon outside of Bastock. So we all hopped on our chocobos. I mean, it takes like, I don't know, 20 minutes or something to get over to Bastock. We got over there, picked up the quest, went out to the dungeon, and got into the dungeon. So we're doing this, and it was a little hard just even getting to the instance, and one of us died. So the thing is, in Final Fantasy XI, you had to set these like waypoints in the town. You have to go up and visit the crystal, so that when you died, that's where you'd show up. So the last waypoint my friend had set was way back in Windurst. So he teleports back there when he dies. So he has to get on his chocobo, or rent a chocobo or whatever, come to Bastock again, and come back out to this dungeon. So he does that. It takes like a half hour or more or whatever. So he does that, we get to the end of the dungeon, and then we like dive into the instance, and my friend is like, I can't get into the instance. And we're just like, what? He's like, I can't get in, it won't let me in. And we're like, well, did you pick up the quest? So he hadn't picked up the quest. So he had to go back to Bastock, pick up the quest, and come back so that we could like do the instance. It was the most ridiculous thing. It was so funny. I mean, it was horrible. We literally spent like 3 hours trying to get into this thing, but we'll never forget that. It was complete insanity. So that was a weird experience, without a doubt, and definitely funny. Um, my favorite kind of pizza, I kind of like cheese, actually, and Greek. What is the meaning and purpose of life? I think that we are put here to learn certain things. You know, I think we have our own challenges that we have to get through in our life, and we need to learn something from those. And I think if we can, you know, as we journey through that that learning adventure, you know, as we learn more, I think it's our job to help other people in their lessons that they're trying to learn in their life too, which, you know, they're going to be different than ours, but I think that's why we interact with each other. You know, I think we have a certain number of things to learn, and I think we're gonna you know, hopefully be here until we learn them or don't. You know, that's about it. What are your main interests outside of gaming and anime? My main interests, you know, translating, Japanese, certainly just Japanese language would be one of them. You know, I have some other hobbies and things I fiddle around. Not very good, but, you know, playing with the guitars, messing with electronics, some stuff like that, I guess. What is, well, maybe drawing, I don't do a lot of that, but what is one question you wished you had been asked but were not? I was asked a lot of questions, so I think I'm gonna just keep going. Actually, you know, nobody did ask about my translation projects, so that would have been kind of cool. But anyway, thank you so much for all of those questions, and we're actually getting down there here. So next up is Sam. Dude, I'm gonna screw up your name. I'm not sure. Sam Vitrilli. I don't know if that's going to be soft or hard. Anyway, I apologize. But long-time viewer of my channel, comments a lot. Really appreciate all your comments and thoughts. Some questions here are: one place you'd like to travel that you haven't. And that's a good question. I think, you know, I don't have a lot of places in the world that I want to travel in particular. Some of those, you know, some places might be cool to go to, but I might like to go to. I'd almost like to just go and like collect fossils somewhere. You know, do like a little fossil hunt. I don't know why. I've just thought that would be cool. You know, I don't know, there are a lot of places to do that in the U.S., I think, that have good fossil records, but I'm thinking maybe the like, Southwest, possibly, and I'd also like to travel more in Japan and just visit some more places. I've never really been to Hokkaido, I've never really been to, like, Okinawa. You know, there are just a lot of towns I haven't been to. I'd like to just travel more. I'd like to go to Kyoto again, that kind of stuff. So that would be cool. If you could do anything for a job, what would it be? I would like to you know, see what it was like to illustrate professionally. I guess if I really want to do that, I you know, should keep illustrating and try to do it professionally, but you know, I guess that was sort of always a dream of mine, and so I guess, you know, I would still say that. Has there been a game or movie you didn't like initially, only to come back later and enjoy it, or vice versa, something you thought you liked, only to revisit it later with displeasure? I'm gonna say, you know, there are some of those movies you really liked at one point, and you go, how could I have liked this? You know, I think one of those is the Dark Crystal. That's one of those ones that, I always thought was really cool, and I remembered seeing it as a kid and thought it was really weird and strange. And then watching it again, I'm just like, it's alright, but it just doesn't have the same sort of whatever. So there's that. Something I didn't like initially, but I liked it better later. Uh, I don't know if I have a good one for that right now. Yeah, so I guess that's it. Thank you very much, Sam, for your questions. Um, Grant Rhodes, another frequent viewer, says, wanted to ask you if you played both Xenogears and Xenosaga and what your thoughts on the games were. Well, yes, to a certain extent. I played Xenogears. I was really excited about it. It's one of the reasons why I bought a PlayStation 1, although really I bought it for Metal Gear Solid more. But I wanted to play Xenogears. All my friends were playing it, and it seemed really cool. And I liked it. The beginning is great, but it just seems like it gets worse and worse as you go on. And I never beat it. I got, I don't know, to disc 2 or something, and I just lost steam because it seemed kind of lame. Then I was really, excited about Xenosaga, and the combat system was too hard. I didn't like it. It just seemed cumbersome and complex, and it turned me off. So what I ended up doing was my friend, I think, got like a special edition, and it had a DVD of all the cutscenes strung together, so I ended up watching that. I don't even remember if that was just Xenosaga 1 or if that included the whole trilogy or what, but I never played them. I just didn't like the battle system in it. Follow-up question, which of the four games had the best soundtrack? I don't know. Xenogears, maybe? It's the only one I really know much about. So anyway, thanks, Grant. And next up is Sporadic Spacebar. Somebody who started watching my videos more recently and has been commenting on them. I really appreciate that. What game have you put the most time into overall? I think I answered that already, actually. Final Fantasy 11. Did I say? I hope I didn't say 13 before. I meant 11. What is the longest amount of time you've spent playing a game in one sitting? Definitely about 14 to 16 hours, because that includes like short breaks for food and bathroom. Because I did a marathon of Resident Evil, and I had started wanting to do that just for fun. I figured I would get all my friends together, and if we took turns in shifts and we had multiple TVs and game systems going, that we could crank through like the whole series in a night, not like an evening, but if we stayed up as long as we could and maybe got a good however long, 8 or 10 or 12 hours of gaming in collectively, you know, split amongst all of my friends, we could knock out that series. And that didn't work out so well, but I loved the idea so much that I ended up doing a marathon later, and I raised some money for my coworker's apartment building burned down, and I wanted to try to raise some money and awareness for that. So I streamed my marathon, and I did it over 4 days. So I basically just played Resident Evil games. I think it was 4 days, 3 or 4 days, and I just played them for like 14 to 16 hours a day, every day for like 4 days. It was pretty exhausting, and I got through most of the games. I think I skipped Resident Evil 4, maybe. I might have skipped 2 of them, like 4 and 6 wasn't out then. And I played 5 because I really liked it and I wanted to finish with it. So anyway, I think I might have skipped Code Veronica and 4, but anyway. What is the longest, that was the one I just talked about. Yeah, and that was it. So thank you, Sporadic Spacebar. Last up is Ultimate Floyd with 3 questions. Ultimate Floyd, I'm sure you guys know, really, really cool guy. What is your most nostalgic game and movie? Let's see. So, my most nostalgic. See, I want it to be like a game that really takes me back to to being a kid. And one that sticks out for me, just because I feel like there's so much nostalgia associated with it, is Streets of Rage 2. And kind of that whole little thing, Streets of Rage 2 and Golden Axe. Whenever I play those, I can almost hear the music I was listening to, because I got my Sega CD for Christmas, and that had a disc that had a few Sega Genesis games on it, and those were some of them. And I remember playing those, and I'd also gotten, I think, Facelift by Alice in Chains and Bleach by Nirvana. And still, when I hear those albums, it makes me think of those games, or when I play those games, it makes me think of those albums. So there's a lot of nostalgia there with that. Most annoying character in a game. This is actually pretty easy. Claptrap from Borderlands. I think I've already talked about how much that annoyed me. I basically, at this point, I'm claiming that I don't play Borderlands because of Claptrap. Additionally, though, the Cheshire Cat in the first Alice game, like an American McGee's Alice game, I didn't like so much that it made me not play the game. It's just an annoying character. I don't know why, but it bugged me. An anime that I hate, but most people seem to like, and vice versa. So, a very good question. I think a good candidate for that is Sword Art Online. I gave that a chance and watched the first 6 episodes because the premise was really interesting. I liked the first episode. And just as I kept watching, it kept getting like worse and worse and worse and worse until I got to the 6th episode, and I'm like, I'm not going to watch any more of this because it's bad. And, you know, I just watched it go on to be really popular, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't get it, but, you know, good for you guys. I'm glad, you know, some people are enjoying it, but I just didn't like it, but it seems pretty popular. And it's weird because I like a lot of that shonen stuff, like Dragon Ball Z and Bleach and Naruto and stuff like that. I mean, I don't dislike. I mean, I don't necessarily like love those shows, but they're good. You know, I mean, I've watched a lot of them, but I didn't like Sword Art Online. Vice versa is tough because like some of the stuff that I think is really underrated that I like, other people like too, just not a lot of other people. The one I'm going to pick is unfortunately one that I talk about a lot, but it's Hyperdoll, because I was checking out like reviews on Amazon and stuff, and it really is split. Like, it's pretty divisive, and some people like it and some people don't. I don't know why some people don't like it. I mean, it seems like some people think it's short, or some people just don't enjoy the humor maybe, or don't get it, or whatever. I think it's funny and fun. It's one of my absolute favorites. So that's the one. So yeah, those are the Q&A questions. I hope this was fun. I don't know if you guys got to learn anything particularly interesting about me, but I hope it was enjoyable to watch. If you guys have any more questions for me, you know, feel free to ask, and I might just answer in the comments or something like that. But I want to do the contest here. This is for a copy of Appleseed Alpha, the CG movie on Blu-ray, and I've just cut up some names here and put them in a little dish, and I'm not looking, I'm just sort of mixing these around. So I'm gonna pick one. I think this is the one. This is it. It's in my hand, and it is Sporadic Spacebar. So congrats, man. You're gonna get a copy of Appleseed Alpha. I'm gonna just send you a PM and, you know, give me your address and I'll send it out to you. So big congrats, and thanks so much for the questions, and just happy holidays, guys. I really appreciate everybody that watches my videos and subscribes and comments and all that good stuff. So anyway, thanks so much, and I hope you'll join me again for more anime and video game related videos. Thanks for watching.